Now on Coast TV News.
From the beach to the stores, how one town on the coast is prepping for the weekend storm.
The state of Delaware is investigating the Lewis Fire Department regarding its embattled former fire chief.
Ocean City cruising into the weekend, why this event means more than meets the eye.
And we are tracking that weekend coastal storm, and it's going to have major impacts as well, especially at the coast. Details coming up.
This is Coast TV News at 5.
Rough waves on Bethany Beach today. Good evening. I'm Christina DeRobertis in for Madeline Overturf.
And I'm Charlie Sakaitis. We begin tonight with stormy weather on the way and preparations here along the coast.
Here's a look at a cloudy and windy Bethany Beach today with big waves already getting pretty close to the dunes. Coast TV News reporter Brandon Ferguson is live in Bethany Beach for us. Brandon, the town issued an alert for this coastal storm.
Christina, neighbors that live here on Atlantic Avenue say most of the flooding happens on this side of the road as we are just 1 block away from the beach. But people here in Bethany Beach say it's not a matter of if the flooding happens, it's when the flooding happens. Waves hitting the coast and people hitting the store. That's what Bethany local Chris Eckert did today before heading to the beach with his dog.
I had to get a sump pump for a property. The sump pump went out. You know, I think it's going to be similar to what that flood we had about a month ago, where it's going to push from the west in.
You can already see behind me how aggressive the waves are out in the ocean, but I want you to look at this. Look how far the water has already came up from the ocean. You can see the change in color of the sand as we are just about 4 feet away from the dune. Coast TV meteorologists expect to see flooding from this storm. They also say wind gusts could reach as much as 60 miles per hour. And it is that wind that has Millville local Ellen Shapiro's attention.
Well, we have lots of trees behind our house, and they're only maybe 10 feet from the property. So we're worried.
With surging seas and a blustery breeze on the way, locals are stocking up as another coastal storm eyes Delmarva. The town of Bethany Beach has issued a flood map that shows within town limits if your street has occasional or frequent flooding. And right here on this side of Atlantic Avenue, it's classified as a frequent flooding area. But on the other side of the camera across Atlantic Avenue, that's an occasional flood area. Live in Bethany Beach, Brandon Ferguson, Coast TV News.
Okay, thank you, Brandon. And it's not just Bethany Beach. Rehoboth Beach and Dewey Beach have also issued statements urging locals to prepare themselves for this weekend's storm. Dewey Beach and Rehoboth Beach officials are warning locals of winds that could reach up to 60 miles per hour, also dangerous surf and flooded roadways. Officials have also asked those to bring in trash cans, secure umbrellas, and outdoor furniture.
This brings us to our Coast TV poll. We want to know, what's your biggest concern about this weekend's coastal storm?
Let's take a look at the results here. 24% say they're worried about street flooding, 28% beach erosion, 46% most people say power outages, and 2% worried about those road closures.
If you haven't voted yet, or if you want to leave a comment, go ahead and do that at coasttv.com or use the mobile app. Speaking of weather, we're taking a live look into Ocean View as we check in with our first alert meteorologist, Bob Trihey. And Bob, what should we be expecting?
Well, this evening, not much. It's the calm before the storm. It's later Saturday into Sunday. That's where things really pick up. But it's just clouds out there right now with an easterly flow. And that'll be the case this evening as we have high pressure to the north and our developing storm off the southeast coast. It's getting organized now along a stationary front. We're looking at temperatures right now in the lower 60s, 62 in Georgetown and Millsboro. Winds starting to pick up, onshore breeze up to about 20 miles per hour. And as we go through the evening hours, I think we're looking at mostly cloudy skies, and through the overnight into tomorrow morning, we're looking at temperatures into the 50s and 60s. I think we're still dry through about the noon hour tomorrow, but this evening, make sure you have the heavier sweatshirt with cloudy skies, temperatures falling through the 50s. I'll have much more on the coastal storm and its impacts coming up a little bit later on.
Thank you, Bob. Well, we have two major developments today regarding the return of Bill Buckaloo to the Lewis Fire Department. Former Fire Chief Buckaloo is back as a member of the department, and now the Delaware State Fire Commission tells CoastTV it wants all documentation related to the internal investigation.
The Fire Commission says that it will review the documents to see if the fire department followed its bylaws. If the fire department did not, the commission says it's important to note, quote, the commission's authority to hold firefighters accountable for certain actions remains limited under existing regulations, unquote.
And at the same time, the Lewis Fire Department's paid firefighters and EMTs say they've remained silent. But today they say they wish to break that silence to clarify their position.
The Career Division saying it, quote, does not agree with or condone any of the recent actions or statements made by volunteer members or volunteer leadership that have been the subject of public attention, unquote.
And the Career Division says the full-time firefighters and EMTs, quote, had no involvement in these incidents or in the decisions made regarding their handling, unquote. Now, this all comes after Bill Buckaloo was suspended in July for using the N-word in a public setting. The department then launched a full internal investigation. Bill Buckaloo was serving his 5th term as fire chief at the time of the suspension. But back in 2018, Buckaloo was arrested by Lewis police for disorderly conduct after urinating off a dock. And in 2020, while serving as assistant chief, Buckaloo was suspended for a Facebook post that included a slur aimed at a drag performer following a show in Rehoboth Beach. The post was later deleted, and Buckaloo did issue a public apology. And following Buckaloo's suspension in July, the Lewis Fire Department held an election to pick a new fire chief, Robert Stevens, now currently serving that role as fire chief. But full disclosure here, the current fire chief, Robert Stevens, is the husband of Coast TV's assistant news director and anchor Madeline Overturf. In Ocean City, things are buzzing this weekend because the 28th annual Endless Summer Cruisin' is in town, bringing hundreds of classic cars, vendors, also live music. Car lovers from across the country are cruising into town for one final ride, and one person Coast TV spoke with says he's been coming to the event since he was a baby.
It's just what I've been used to my whole life, and I live across the country in California now, so it's important enough to me to fly home every year just to do this.
Ocean City police say a special event zone is in place. It's an effort to stop people from speeding in town. Endless Cruisin' was scheduled to go until Sunday, but organizers pushed all weekend events to Saturday due to the expected bad weather.
Flies all the way across the country. Love that. For those in Milton, on your screen now is where DelDOT says it will begin bridge construction on Broad Kill Road between Route 1 North and Route 1 South. Closures for the construction, those are going to be nightly from 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. starting on October 20th until the 22nd. During the construction hours, people using Route 1 will be reduced to a single lane.
Well, with the ceasefire underway between Israel and Hamas, President Trump plans to visit the region Sunday. Hamas is now facing a Monday deadline to release hostages it's held for more than 2 years.
Tonight, many questions remain about what comes next. NBC's Yamiche Alcindor has more on the fight for peace in the Middle East.
On Friday, with the smoke from constant Israeli strikes finally clearing, long lines of Palestinians made their way into northern Gaza to see what's left amid the rubble. A ceasefire between Hamas and Israel now underway. A potential end to the war in sight after more than 2 years.
Everybody's celebrating. Everybody loves the deal.
President Trump is planning to travel to the region on Sunday after both sides agreed to the first phase of his 20-point peace plan. Now Hamas has just under 72 hours to release the 20 living Israeli hostages and the 28 bodies it still holds. A team of doctors is ready to help the living return to normal life.
We cannot undo these 2 years of nightmare they have been through, that the families have been through. We need to help them to become humans again after they were dehumanized by the Hamas.
In Gaza, Hameen Musa has been homeless for 2 years, moving from place to place with her family.
Despite of the bombing, despite of the loss, I feel happy actually, because we still survive. Palestinians deserve life, and nothing but happiness is appropriate for them.
It's unclear who will rebuild Gaza and what reconstruction will look like. President Trump says several countries in the region are ready to help, and Palestinians will not be displaced.
We're going to create something where people can live. You can't live right now in Gaza.
There are many unanswered questions about the next phase of the deal, like who will govern Gaza and whether Hamas will fully disarm and disband.
Everybody's worried about phase 2, but let's celebrate phase 1. Let's all take a breath as a world and say this is a great day.
According to 2 U.S. officials, the U.S. military is preparing to send as many as 200 troops to Israel to ensure stability and the flow of humanitarian aid into Gaza. But they say there will be no American boots on the ground inside Gaza. Yamiche Alcindor, NBC News, Washington.
An open house focused on coastal resilience, when and where you can take part.
Here's a live look into Laurel. We're increasing the clouds, and it's the calm before the storm. The rain and wind picks up this weekend with major impacts, especially at the coast. I'll break down all the facets of the storm coming up shortly.
Fall festivities are filling up the weekend calendar, so stay tuned for your cool things to do.
We saw lots of clouds on our Friday as we're gearing up for that coastal storm this weekend. Right now, the Gutter Helmet Cam showing 62 degrees and increasing clouds, and we're going to be cloudy through the evening hours with temperatures slowly falling. Now we're looking at that coastal storm later Saturday through Tuesday. Showers begin Saturday evening. I think we're looking at a wind-driven rain, the heaviest coming Sunday afternoon, then scattered showers Monday and Tuesday, and windy conditions. Breezy tomorrow, winds 35 miles per hour plus, then Sunday 40 to 60 mile per hour winds possibly at the beaches, and then Monday 35 to 50 miles per hour. So we're looking at major coastal flooding across Delaware, we think, and the roadways and highways will be flooded too, and dangerous surf and beach erosion. Waves could be about 8 to 13 feet, so get ready for that. Lots of clouds right now. This is just the cloudiness ahead of that system as we have high pressure to the north right now, and that will eventually steer this low. Now the low's developing off the southeast coast. Some of the models have it coming right up the coast as an intense low. Others keep it a little bit offshore and a little weaker, so that's still up in the air. Right now, temperatures are in the low 60s, and that easterly wind is beginning to pick up now, gusting close to 20 miles per hour. We do have a coastal flood watch that goes into effect tomorrow and continues until Monday, 8 p.m. And we have a storm watch, too. We're going to be looking at huge waves and those very strong winds that'll be gusting over 50, 60 miles per hour with a high wind watch across much of southern Delaware, likely to go to a warning. Now this evening we're looking at mostly cloudy skies, temperatures falling into the 50s. By Saturday morning it's mostly cloudy, and I think really much of the day until noon is dry, and even into Saturday evening it's looking dry. Then that rain picks up into Saturday night and Sunday morning. Really heavy rain and very strong winds. We've got some arrows that are purple in color here indicating those strong damaging winds. Then as we go into your Sunday morning, still very heavy rain and strong winds, and that continues into Sunday night as well. And it's going to continue, I think, to Monday. Sunday through Tuesday, we could be seeing power outages, down trees and power lines, strongest winds at the coast, 50 to 60 miles per hour. A little farther inland, 40 to 50 miles per hour from Seaford to Berlin and the eastern shore, gusts of 30 to 40 miles per hour with major coastal flooding, waves of 8 to 13 feet and 1 to 2 foot of inundation in low-lying areas. So watch for that as we are slated to see excessive rain. Right now we're under a slight risk, and look at these strong winds, close to 40 miles per hour as we go into Sunday morning. By Sunday afternoon, 55 to 60 at the coast, and still very strong as we go into your Monday. And we could see maybe on the order of about an inch to about 3 inches of rain. Really depends on your location as that low finally starts to move out of here as we go into Tuesday. 55 tonight and then 72 tomorrow. Increasing rain and wind. Paul Davis 7-day forecast. A code red Sunday for the heavy rain and wind. 68, 65 on Monday. Then drying out after that. And congratulations to Linda Broughton from Lewis on winning a brand new umbrella from Paul Davis and Coast TV.
Well, just because the summer crowds have cleared, that doesn't mean the coast is quiet. There's a lot to choose from this weekend in both Delaware and Maryland, and we're going to kick things off with a taste of tradition at the Apple Scrapple Festival in Bridgeville. It's a Friday and Saturday event, and you can enjoy carnival rides, a car show, the Scrapple Sling, and of course, plenty of delicious food. Step up for a good cause at the annual Boardwalk Buddy Walk Saturday from 8 a.m. to noon. Family and friends will come together to celebrate and support people with Down syndrome along the Rehoboth Beach Boardwalk. You can get your pumpkin fix at Dogfish Head's Pumpkin Ale Fest from 11 to 4 on Saturday. Enjoy seasonal brews, live music, plus you can even bring your pet to the event. Sunday is all about the hounds. Parade down the Rehoboth Beach Boardwalk starting at 10 a.m. to celebrate retired racing greyhounds and learn about adoption awareness. In Maryland, Harbor Day at the Docks celebrates the state's maritime history with live music, crab cake contests, Coast Guard boat tours, and plenty of family-friendly fun. That's from 10 to 3 along Sunset Avenue on Saturday. And engines will be roaring in Ocean City as one of the last big events of the season rolls into town. The 28th annual Endless Summer Cruisin' is underway, bringing hundreds of classic cars, vendors, and live music to Ocean City. You can find all event details, tickets, and more over on CoastTV.com. All you have to do is click on Cool Things to Do.
The Delaware Center for the Inland Bays is having an open house focused on coastal resilience. The event will highlight the importance of building resilient coastlines in the Inland Bays watershed. Organizers say people can explore interactive displays and take part in hands-on activities. It's free and will take place on October 15th and October 21st, both of those from 3 to 6 p.m. Coming up on DSN at 5:30, tune in for Scoops and Scores, your game of the night at 6 p.m. Snow Hill visiting Colonel Richardson in high school football. Then at 9:30, watch 1CW Pro Wrestling. And at 10:30, Nittany Game Week, 11 p.m. Catch the final score. And along with that Snow Hill game of the night, here are your DSN Plus exclusives. At 6 p.m., UMES hosting Coppin State in women's volleyball. Also at 6 p.m., Cambridge South Dorchester facing Kent County in football. At 7 p.m., First State Military Academy taking on Seaford in football. And at 7 p.m., Cape Henlopen battling Smyrna in football. Get ready for another week in the NFL regular season. We have your Sunday night football right here on Coast TV. This week you can catch the Detroit Lions and Kansas City Chiefs. That's a good game. Coverage begins at 7, then stay right here following the game for Coast TV News. Coast TV News at 5. We'll be right back.
Delaware State Police have arrested 36-year-old Jeremy Cooper of Laurel for gun and drug charges following a traffic stop. At around 10:12 p.m. last night, a trooper noticed Cooper's Dodge Dakota had a registration violation. This prompted a traffic stop, and Cooper did not provide registration or insurance for the truck during the stop. Troopers discovered a sawed-off shotgun and multiple ammo cases. Troopers say they also found 0.1 grams of methamphetamines.
The government shutdown is now beginning to affect the paychecks of federal workers. For many, Friday's paychecks will be smaller, and they'll be the last checks until Congress agrees on a spending package for the current fiscal year. It gets worse next week, as for the first time ever, military personnel will miss their first paycheck on October 15th. Now, in past shutdowns, Congress ensured most military members would still get paid and government workers received back pay once an impasse ended. But recently, the White House threw into doubt whether furloughed staffers would get back pay once the government reopens. About 1.4 million workers, federal workers, are furloughed or working without pay, according to the Bipartisan Policy Center's review of shutdown plans and the major federal agencies.
Now here's a live look into Dover. We'll have one more check on your forecast after this.
Our weather not too bad heading into this evening. Cloudy skies, temperatures falling through the 50s. Paul Davis 10-day forecast. Saturday 72, the rain picks up. Code red Sunday. We're going to see beach erosion, big time winds and heavy rain there, 68. Lingering rain on Monday with wind with a yellow alert, 65. Finally drying it out Tuesday and kind of cool by Thursday. And right now next weekend looking dry and partly cloudy.
All right, thanks, Bob, and thanks for joining us for Coast TV News at 5.
For more news, more local weather, especially right now, download that weather app.
Inside Edition is next.
And we'll see you later tonight for Coast TV News at 6. Have a great evening.